Welcome to the fourth episode of the Easier Said Than Done podcast. My name is Brendan Donahue. Joined with me, Dave Toscano and Bob Horgan. Fellas, how we doing?
What's up?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been somewhat of a low-key week. You know, we're starting to get into March. March is always the pinnacle of winter sports, I would say. We got NFL free agencies coming up, spring training, March Madness, conference tournaments, all of that starting to come at us pretty fast here. We're going to just hop right into it. Celtics, 0-3. 0-3, 7-14 in their last 21. Lost to the Pelicans on Sunday, in which they blew a 24-point lead. They lost to the Mavs, which, you know, Luka just did Luka things.
Disgusting.
There's a reason that he's as highly regarded as he is, and he showed that. And then just getting absolutely manhandled by the Hawks last night. What else can we say that we haven't said already, Bob?
Yeah, no. This was just not a good week. I think this was just a accumulation of everything, and then it just all kind of went to shit. I think looking at the schedule, if you saw this 3-game stretch, you think 3-0, not 0-3. They need help. I think I saw a quote from Jason Tatum today that was just basically like, yeah, the season kind of just rolls on. I kind of just think they're tired. Man, they don't look – there's no energy. Again, Marcus Smart, you need him out there. Kemba is kind of just iffy. He is not the Kemba Walker that we thought we were getting. Again, I'm not nervous. We got, 2 All-Stars. We got 2 really good players, and we got some complementary pieces that can work together. I mean, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals last year with the same team. It's just some guys are out, and a couple differences. Obviously, no Gordon Hayward, which is bigger than I think anyone expected. But again, it's not – the season isn't over by any means. Again, I wouldn't mind to see a trade or two, get a scorer in off the bench. But yeah, just as a Celtics, I'm not thrilled as a Celtics fan right now. Leave it at that.
I'll piggyback off Bob and say it's definitely not over. There's still a little bit of time. I think the toughest one to swallow is definitely the Pelicans game, up 24 and you blow that lead. Like, you start the game building that lead, fast pace, aggressive game, and then all of a sudden feel like you just take your foot off the pedal, slowly let them back into the game. And then just at the end, Zion and Josh Hart really just started to take over. And then I guess against the Hawks, you could say that Gallinari was just an absolute animal. Like, there's nothing you can do about a guy shooting lights out like that. And Trae Young was good offensively again, but I don't know. I still would give it a little bit of time, but Brad Stevens is definitely starting to get on the hot seat.
You know, I don't think Stevens gets fired unless they lose out at this point. You know, he's a coach that's brought in you. Or I should rephrase that. He won't get fired mid-season unless they lose out. He's a coach that's brought them to the Eastern Conference Finals. 3 out of the last 4 years, 5 years? 3 out of the last 4 years. I think it's time to put a little pressure on Danny Ainge, though. I said it last week. You have a historic trade exception waiting in the wings. It's time to make a splash. It's inexcusable to not make a trade. It really is. You're at a point here where, you don't really have the heart and soul of your team, Marcus Smart. I get that. Even if he's not on the floor, there's no reason for them to look the way that they've looked. He was on, I think it was Toucher and Rich today, saying that they've come close on a couple of deals. Danny, it's time to stop coming with this close talk and actually do something here. You have $28.5 million worth of trade exception where you can literally get whoever you want. You have 2 studs there. Kemba, we're going to have to start to accept the fact that, A, he's not getting traded, B, he's going to have games where he goes 1 for 14 from 3 like he did against New Orleans. And he's going to also have games where he goes 6 for 8 from 3. I think that's what we're just going to have to come, to expect and to accept. The bench is full of young guys, but I think this is the thing. If you go back and you keep looking at these Celtics teams in the past couple of years and compare them to the teams that have gone on and won things in the NBA, it's their bench. The bench is full of experienced NBA guys on all of those teams that go for it or that go on and win. If you go look back at all of these Celtics rosters, they're full of guys that have been drafted, that have only been in the league 2-3 years. You need a veteran presence off the bench. If you go and look at the bench, the only guy that's coming off of it it's tough to say because the lineup's always changing, but the guy who's routinely coming off the bench who has more than 3 years of NBA experience right now is Jeff Teague. Or, whichever one of Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson doesn't start. Other than that, it's Nesmith, who's a rookie. It's Peyton Pritchard, who's a rookie. Who knows when we see Romeo Langford again. Carson Edwards, spotty minutes. You got to get somebody who's going to help you, maybe be a big man. I would love to see Steven Adams. You have a trade exception. He fits under that salary. I know he's not even being shopped, but he's always been my dream fit for the Celtics. But you got to find one of these guys who are available and just finally just bite the bullet, give up a first-round pick that's probably going to be meaningless anyways, and just do it.
100% agree. The bench is, again, these guys are they're good college players. Carson Edwards was absolutely filthy in college. I've been kind of floating this idea out in my mind. And we talk about, you need the bench scorer, What if you sent Kemba Walker to the bench and had him come off the bench? I mean, again, that would mean probably Peyton Pritchard starting, or it's when Marcus is back, it's Marcus and the two bigs, which I don't like the two big lineup, by the way. I think that's not a good fit for us. But again, what if you threw him off the bench? There's your veteran off the bench, a guy that has the capability to score freaking 30 points any given night. There will be, again, there will be games where we're like, shit, Kemba Walker's back. And then there will be games where it's like, Kemba Walker's going to be the guy to blame. But, yeah, that's just kind of my thought. You need bench help, obviously, clearly. There are guys you can go and get. I don't know if I would use a trade exception now. I think they were kind of talking about with the trade exception in the offseason, it's easier to use. Some guys went out of there, and it's easier to get a guy out of a place in the offseason than during the season. But, yeah, basically you need help. And I'll kind of float two more ideas out there. Maybe I'll float three. One, Aaron Nesmith has looked really good lately, which is an encouraging sign. I want him to get more minutes, maybe some of those semi-minutes. Semi's your third wing. If Semi's your third wing in the NBA, you're not a great team. I mean, it goes Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, then Semi Ojeleye. That's kind of disgusting. Two, Brad, if you fire Brad, where do you go? I don't see, short list. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but Greg Popovich, I'd have Steve Kerr probably, Spoelstra, maybe Nick Nurse, but Brad's a top 5 guy in the league, so I don't want to throw him away. And he's freaking 40 years old. He's one of the youngest coaches in the league. And then third, nothing to do with the Celtics. Well, their loss. Those last 2 possessions by Luka Doncic were some of the most impressive basketball I've seen. That was sick, and I give credit where credit's due. He hit 2 freaking big ball shots. If you lose on that, you lose, I guess.
Going back to that bench point, your bench in the Atlanta game. Granted, Marcus is hurt and Romeo's hurt, but Romeo just adds to this point. But the guys who come off the bench, Grant Williams in his second year, Peyton Pritchard in his first year, Robert Williams in his third year, Aaron Nesmith in his first year, Javonte Green in his second year, Carson Edwards in his second year, Tremont Waters in his second year, Taco in his second year, Semi Ojeleye in his 5th year. I mean, you're on the youngest team in basketball. I don't know how you can't think that like a veteran presence would be invaluable. You need a leader. And, Kemba is a leader, but leaders lead by example, and he's not exactly doing that right now. Does the trade exception expire?
I think at the start of next season.
Okay.
I think.
So like a year from the trade.
Yeah. I don't really know 100%, but.
Yeah, well, and especially because this offseason will be a little bit different. So not 100% sure. Dave, anything else?
Entertainment value for Steven Adams would be through the roof.
Yeah, no, he looks like Aquaman. All right, let's move on to college basketball here. Big week for college basketball. We're starting to get to the bubble watch, I guess you could say. Sunday, big win for Michigan over Ohio State. I think you could say we learned about as much as we learned about Michigan in that game as we did about Ohio State. Ohio State was thoroughly impressive. Those two teams are going to go at it again. I'm sure probably in the Big Ten Championship, I wouldn't even be surprised, but in that league, you don't know. Some other big results, Texas beating Kansas on Tuesday night. Texas needed that win. Since January 7th, they had 3 wins, and those 3 wins were against Kansas State twice and TCU. So a much needed win over a big opponent. Also, Oklahoma State beats Texas Tech on Monday night. Big result for the Cowboys. They were on the bubble a little bit. That win should probably cement their spot for right now in there. And a team that I love, Georgia Tech, beats Virginia Tech first game out of the quarantine. Big result for them. They got 3 games left. It's Syracuse, Duke, and Wake Forest until the ACC tournament. They're going to have their chance to cement their spot in March Madness as well. What caught your guys' eye?
Yeah, I'll start. Duke is back, I think. I don't know. I hate Duke, but I don't really get what happened. I mean, this Jalen Johnson kid, I don't want to bring up this point because I think it's all that's been talked about when Duke's been brought up. Like, Jalen Johnson kind of just leaving has actually helped them. Addition by subtraction, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think Duke's going to sneak in. I hate Duke again, but they're going to sneak in. They look good. The ACC is even worse than we think, I'm pretty sure. Couple of gross losses. Virginia lost last night or Tuesday night. Virginia's actually lost back-to-back games, Duke and NC State.
Bad loss against NC State.
Yeah, bad loss. Baylor looked shaky too. They look shaky. One tidbit on Oklahoma State. I love them actually right now, but they are under NCAA suspension, but they have appealed it, so they might not be tournament eligible. But yeah, besides that, just again, college basketball is the best sporting event or sport kind of throughout the year, because on any given night, any team can beat anybody, which I just think makes it awesome. But yeah, you kind of saw this week some upsets. Even Illinois went down. So Oklahoma went down last night or 2. Alabama went down. Like 5 through 8, I'm pretty sure all of them lost this week. So interesting.
Yeah, I think I'll hit on the Blue Bloods a little bit. We kind of disrespected them last week. We already mentioned Duke, but also Kentucky. They beat Tennessee, who's 19th at the time. Kentucky's got 3 wins in a row, and they're not losing by a lot to their other SEC opponents. So I wouldn't count out a tournament run in the SEC, and the same thing goes for Duke in the ACC, because we talked about how the ACC has been pretty shitty this year. Duke's won a couple in a row. They're gaining some momentum. They could definitely make a run. And Oklahoma State, we already talked about it a little bit, but I had them written down. They're a very under-the-radar team. I didn't know about the thing you mentioned, Bob. That would obviously put a wrench in things, but they're a very good team. I mean, look at these wins. I mean, they've got Cade Cunningham, one of the best in the country. They've got Texas Tech twice when they were unranked and Texas Tech was ranked. They had Texas when they were 6, Kansas when they were 6, and Arkansas, who is now 20. And I think it's ridiculous that they're not in the top 25. The last time I checked, they weren't. But they should definitely be in the top 25 next time around. And I really do think they're going to beat Oklahoma. Rivalry game coming up this weekend.
Some other big upsets to mention: Arizona taking down USC last Saturday since we last talked. Like we said, Duke took down UVA. Monday, we had Oklahoma State beating Texas Tech. Tuesday, Kansas State beating Oklahoma. That was a big upset. Baylor got scared in their first game back against Iowa State, lost the first half, but ended up coming back and beating Iowa State by 5. That would have been a bad loss for Baylor, but not like they were going to lose their number 1 spot there. Georgia Tech beating Virginia Tech, Michigan State beating Illinois. Yesterday we had Arkansas. Arkansas is a team that I cannot figure out. Beat Alabama, and NC State beat Virginia. So, a lot of big games coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that later towards the gambling part of the show. But, there's going to be an interesting couple of weeks coming here. And, conference tournament week is always the week that determines who's in, who's out. And we missed that last year, and thank God we have it back this year because I missed it thoroughly. So we're going to segue into the next portion, which is Cam Newton being absolutely disrespected at, was it his own camp?
Yeah.
It was his own camp. Got a little kid telling him that he's trash. His response is, I'm rich. He goes, okay, well, you're a free agent. He goes, okay, well, I'm rich. And he said, okay, but you're still trash. And then Cam's response is, where is your dad? And I don't know what to read of it. I feel bad for Cam. He was a great quarterback. He's not the same quarterback anymore. But at the same point, he is trash. He's trash.
I think Cam's still, in his head, I think, again, we all like to think of ourselves as better than we really are. I just feel like in Cam's head, he thinks he's still, the guy, which, believe me, Cam Newton is, I don't know if he's a legend, but, for the next 25 years, I'm going to remember Cam Newton.
He was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for, a 4-year period.
Yeah, he won an MVP, brought his team to the Super Bowl. You can't really ask for much more in a quarterback. I don't really know what to think. This kid definitely needed to find his dad, because I'm pretty sure his dad probably would have been like, dude, what the hell are you doing? That's Cam Newton. Respect the dude.
I don't know how you can go into somebody's camp who's running it and then just absolutely ruthlessly roast him like that. Something that caught my attention, I don't know who the interview was with, but Cam talked about his relationship with Bill Belichick, and he said that Bill Belichick is the most misunderstood dude in sports, and that he's a dope guy, which is starting to make me second guess, are the Patriots going to re-sign Cam Newton? Or is Cam Newton trying to sweeten up to Bill Belichick and be like, hey, remember me? We had a fun couple of weeks.
He's trying to sweeten the pot. Okay, my Patriots quick take is I would sign a veteran quarterback on a 1 or 2 year deal. I would draft the best possible quarterback you can draft. So is Cam Newton that veteran who you want leading your next quarterback?
So I think before we really get into it, I think we should probably analyze here who's available. So Jimmy G is a potential free agent, but you don't know. There's talks that Teddy Bridgewater's unhappy. I would like Teddy Bridgewater, but we'll talk about that afterwards. We're hearing that Russell Wilson isn't asking for a trade, but he wouldn't even play at the Patriots, he said. He's only got 4 teams that he would want to play at. I think it's the Bears, the Raiders, the Saints, and I forget what the other team was. Another option is Jacoby Brissett's a free agent, which I don't think that's going to be a thing.
Knows the playbook. Ryan
Fitzpatrick. I'm sure there's probably 2 or 3 other guys. Mitch Trubisky, I don't think he's going to be going anywhere.
Andy Dalton's out there.
Andy Dalton. I'm missing like two more: Tyrod Taylor and AJ McCarron. And then, obviously there's probably 5 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first round. It remains to be seen if any of those guys are going to drop to the Patriots. Bob is a huge Trey Lance fan. I know he wants the Pats to draft Trey Lance.
I'm not a Trey Lance guy.
No, Bob's a big Mac Jones guy. But, I mean, I don't know what the Pats can do here. Obviously, all these quarterbacks are going to have to find teams, and the quarterback market has shrunk since the last time we really had to analyze it. Detroit's got a quarterback. LA's got a quarterback. Who was the other trade that happened? Oh, Indy's got a quarterback. Philly's got a quarterback. So now we're kind of into this part where if the Jets are going to stick with Darnold, how does that affect you? And then
we can cut. Just start where you're
girlfriend phone calls.
The Jets are at a point where you don't know if Sam Darnold's coming back or not, or what their future is with them. So the quarterback market has shrunk, but there is still a bunch of pieces that still need to fall, and I think that bodes well for the Patriots, all things considered. There's probably 4 or 5 viable free agent quarterbacks that could realistically start for you, and then there's also 5 quarterbacks out there that could probably be your future quarterback. So that remains to be seen. Bob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I kind of said earlier, I'm team go sign a veteran and then you draft a kid. If Cam Newton's that guy that, you feel comfortable, he might be your starter for the next year. I just think that with Cam, there are a lot of limitations. Like looking at it, would you rather just throw money at Ryan Fitzpatrick and have him come around and screw around for a year and be that kind of veteran presence in the locker room, kind of guide some young guy? Also, a little tidbit, I've been following Damian Harris on Instagram. Him and Mac Jones are both Bama guys, but they're like boys.
I saw that got mentioned in Mac Jones' Senior Bowl interview.
Yeah, we won't look into that too much, but I just think that you need, I don't know, there is this like appealing aspect of Cam Newton where it's like, it's Cam Newton, it's Cam Newton, but that's also like, it's the guy who also couldn't throw a ball freaking 8 yards to save his life. So,
I was convinced Cam Newton was going to turn into like regular Cam Newton for the week.
No, I did too.
Weeks 4 through probably 12, and then I just
that Seattle game. Can we talk about this too? Just again, this quick 20 seconds. We used to run like that wicked heavy package with direct snap to Cam and let him figure it out. I don't think I saw that the rest of the year. I don't know.
So I think what happened there was Jermaine Elminor got injured, and then he didn't come back for like 6 or 7 weeks. And he was the guy that was like the tight end in that package.
Team tackle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I saw on it. But even when he came back, they kind of abandoned it too. So, who knows? Yeah. Champions League. We had on Tuesday this week. Tuesday was – who played, Dave?
Bayern and Lazio and Chelsea and Atletico.
Yep. So Chelsea and Atletico. Chelsea won 1-0 off of a stunner of a bike from Olivier Giroud. And Bayern just manhandled Lazio 4-1. There was a little bit of question as to whether Bayern kind of lost their mojo. That going into it, the last 2 Bundesliga games had tied against the second to worst team in the Bundesliga, and then lost to Eintracht Frankfurt, who's a quality opponent, but an opponent that you would expect Bayern to take care of. They had a shortened bench too. They only had 5 subs, I think, available. In Champions League, I think you're allowed like 9 or 10. So they had a bunch of squad injuries and they've sent a bunch of guys up on loan. So, good to see Bayern, or depending on who you root for. And if you don't like Bayern, it was good to see Bayern kind of get their form back. I bet on them midweek in Champions League, so that was good for me. And then Chelsea and Atletico, probably the 2 most defensive teams, which is ironic considering how many attacking players that Chelsea has bought over the past year and a half. But 1-0, Chelsea's got to be in a pretty good spot here. They go into the second leg up a goal. Atletico is a team that has struggled to keep clean sheets. I think I saw that was the ninth straight game that Atletico has played without letting a team score on them, which is a pretty wild number, all things considered. Dave, thoughts on those two games?
Yeah, Atletico is a little bit shorthanded. They didn't have Trippier, Jimenez, Vershako, or Carrasco, but yeah, I mean Chelsea had a really good game and pretty compact defensively. And Giroud always seems to come up with like a crazy goal, like out of nowhere. You could convince someone who doesn't watch soccer that Giroud is the best player in the world. The amount of worldies this guy scores.
I think something that I forgot to mention that's probably concerning if you're an American now, that's the last 6 games, Pulisic has not started, for the exception of one FA Cup game. The new coach, Thomas Tuchel, was asked what Pulisic's future at Chelsea was, and he said that, he wants him in the club, but obviously it's going to be the club's decision ultimately, which kind of sounds like, I don't know, we'll see. I'm not really sure yet. He was Pulisic's former manager at his last club, Borussia Dortmund, and that was the club that Pulisic stopped getting playing time with before he was sold to Chelsea. So definitely a storyline to follow here. Also coming off of the heels of a rumor that he could be headed to Bayern this summer. Bayern Munich, going back to Germany where he started his professional career. Bayern are European champions currently. Bundesliga 9-time champion in a row. So it's one to follow. I'm not sure it has legs just yet, but considering the fact that Tuchel and Pulisic don't have the best history and they haven't played much, definitely one to follow. Dave, what were your thoughts on the Bayern game?
Yeah, I'll touch on Pulisic a little bit. I don't think it's definitely not something to worry about, really. Wherever he lands, if he does decide to leave or if the club decides to move on from him, he'll be fine. I think as a U.S. fan, you should probably just worry about other things. Pulisic is going to be in the team. He's going to be your best player going forward. So that's not going to change regardless of how many minutes he gets at Chelsea. And he could replace Koeman at Bayern. So that's where your rumor has a little bit of legs. But Bayern, yeah, good bounce back win against Lazio. It definitely helped that Lazio had a completely shite defensive game. Literally nice through ball to Lewandowski for that first goal from the defender. Musiala, I don't know how to pronounce that, but
Musiala,
17-year-old. I believe he pledged his allegiance to Germany, not England, where I think he grew up in England and was born in Germany, or is it the other way around? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, yeah. Well, he could be good in the future. Sane with another goal and then an own goal. Correa got one back for Lazio, but it's obviously over at this point. I think we can start talking about the other two games though on the next day.
Yeah, and just to note that was the first leg. So if Lazio were to come back, they would need 5 away goals to advance, which probably isn't going to happen at Bayern. We'll move on to Wednesday's game. Man City goes to, I don't know if they were at home or not. Anyways, they played Gladbach 2-0. They continue to roll on, probably the hottest team in Europe. We talked about it last week. Jesus with 1 and Bernardo Silva with 1. It's tough seeing anyone to stop them right now. And they're playing a hot West Ham team this weekend that I think is going to be a really, really entertaining game to watch, but we'll see if West Ham brings the game to them or they kind of try and sit back and counterattack. That remains to be seen. But Man City continues to go about their business. And then in the second game, Real Madrid against Atalanta. Atalanta goes down to 10 men. How fast was it into the game? 17 minutes into the game, they got a red card. Kind of a questionable red card if you ask me. Real Madrid struggled to break down that defense, and it looked like it was going to go 0-0, but Ferland Mendy with a peach of a goal, if we're going to be completely honest with you. He's left-footed, but it was a right-footed curler from about 20 yards out with about 5 minutes left in regular time. They now have that 1-goal advantage, but it's also an away goal, so it's going to be important going into the second leg. Dave, thoughts on these two games?
Yeah, Man City is a train right now. There's no stopping them. They have won 19 games in a row in all competitions. It's pretty ridiculous. They are 10 points clear on top of the Premier League, and they will be easily moving on against Mönchengladbach when they play again, I believe, in 3 weeks' time. That one definitely could have been 4 or 5-0. They were just absolutely dominant. And the Real Madrid game, questionable red card, as you said, on the touch. It was just outside the box. He was going away from goal. I would have been fine, and I'm sure a lot of people would have been fine with the yellow card there. And that really kind of ruined the game for Atalanta. They had to defend for the next, 70 minutes, and they almost got away with it. A 0-0 would have been a great result for them considering the early red card. But, again, Mendy scored that goal late on, and, I mean, it's not a bad result by any means. 1-0 is fine, especially considering the red card. But they would have liked to get out 0-0. Definitely not over, though.
Yeah, like you said, I think if you told Atalanta fans that they were going to go down a man for 70 minutes and they were only going to come out down 1-0, I think they will take that. It also, only letting up one away goal is huge for them going into the second leg. They have the advantage on away goals as long as they score one.
And they score a lot of goals. So
They do. Yeah, they're a feisty team. They don't have a lot of big names, but they got a lot of young guys and they're really entertaining to watch. They'll always put up a good fight against especially the big dogs. I think they went to the quarterfinals last year. Or am I making that up?
No, they had a run. I believe it was quarterfinals.
And to segue off of our soccer talk here, we're now going to go to our first interview on the Easier Said Than Done podcast. Me, Dave, and Bob had a chance to sit down with Josh Bauer. Played his college soccer, I should say, here at UNH. Just recently drafted by Atlanta United in the second round of the draft. He was down in Atlanta. Really cool interview. Got to sit down, talk to him on Zoom for about 20, 25 minutes. Guys, it was a pretty cool interview, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this makes us an official Atlanta United podcast, correct?
No.
Right there.
Nope.
We'll keep an eye out for Josh. Josh,
I'll roll with you at Atlanta United.
We got to talk to Josh about everything from getting drafted to playing college ball to playing club, playing against MLS guys, and his favorite UNH stuff. So here's Josh Bauer, and we'll get back to you on the other side. All right, we now welcome on the first guest interview of the Easier Said Than Done podcast. Josh Bauer is a 2-time America East Defender of the Year from UNH. He was a semifinalist for the Herman Trophy Award for Best College Soccer Player and was most recently an MLS Super Draft pick of Atlanta United. Josh, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool being at school right now and seeing an athlete, go to the next level. Small school like UNH is it's kind of rare, so it's definitely cool to see. So we're happy to have you on.
Yeah, appreciate it again. Thank you.
So I guess we'll start from the beginning. So you're from Bedford, New Hampshire. Where'd you play your club ball? Was there any ever doubt that you were going to end up at UNH?
Yes, definitely a doubt that I was going to end up at UNH. So I moved to Bedford after 7th grade. So I had 8th grade and then high school in Bedford. And I played my club. So initially when I came over here, John Price was like the guy of soccer in New Hampshire, and he was at Seacoast. But right when I moved over, he transitioned to GPS New Hampshire, which actually worked out better for my situation because it was closer to where I lived. So I played club for GPS New Hampshire all throughout high school, and then just how I got to UNH. I wasn't even sure about playing college soccer in the beginning. I didn't really know if it was a potential for me. I studied biomedical science when I was in school, and I knew I was going to study that. So I was a little bit worried about balancing school and soccer and if I could do it or not. But ultimately I decided I wanted to play soccer and commit to that, as well as my academics. And, fortunately enough for me, Mark Hubbard made me an offer to come play Division I soccer at UNH, and, I couldn't pass that up.
Definitely. So there was some rumored like MLS interest for you last year. You ultimately came out and said that you were going to be coming back to UNH for your last season, and then COVID happened, and that kind of ruined everything. So like, kind of what was going through your head when you found out that the season was getting canceled, and like trying to figure out what your next steps were going to be?
Yeah. So, first of all, in my mind, the way I saw it was I had one semester left to complete my degree, which is why I had decided to come back to UNH. And I ended up graduating in the spring of 2020. And then it was a matter of, okay, what do I do up until the draft, because the draft's in January. And I still had a season left of eligibility to play in the fall. And yeah, you're right. That's right when COVID hit. And obviously it was a big deal at the time, because, we were still, as a country in general, figuring out how to navigate this pandemic. And obviously threw a loop in soccer with canceling our season. At first, it was just tough to even come to terms with, because in my mind I had it set, okay, this will be my last go at it. And to have that taken away, it definitely hurt a lot. But, it opened up new doors and new opportunities for me. So, I'm here now, so I really can't complain. Everything happens for a reason.
Definitely.
When did you kind of know that the pro route was a thing for you, and when you could kind of play at that professional level?
There was a time after, so I redshirted my freshman year at UNH. So I didn't play a minute. And during that year, I had obviously been training and working hard to get better, working on my weaknesses and whatnot with the coaching staff. So I definitely saw some big improvement from the end of my senior year in high school to the end of my freshman year of college. Still wasn't quite sure, where I was yet, because I hadn't actually played a game for UNH. But then my sophomore year of school, which would have been my first year playing, I was fortunate enough, to be on a good team. That was, Mark Hubbard had kind of, and the rest of the staff had flipped the program around from where UNH was, and brought us to, somewhat of a national spotlight. And then, myself, I excelled in the system and with the guys around me, and saw even more improvement from the end of my freshman year to the end of my sophomore year. And that's kind of when things got a little more serious, just talking with the coaching staff and them basically telling me, like, me not even realizing it myself, but them kind of letting me know, you have potential to play at the next level if you're willing to put in the work for it, and if that's what you want to do. And obviously that's what I wanted to do, and I was definitely willing to put the work in. So I think sometime at the end of my sophomore year, kind of going into my junior year, is when I realized it would be a real possibility.
Yeah, and as we're talking about the professional game, instead of playing that last season, you joined Birmingham Legion of the USL on loan. So talk me through that whole process and what it was like to get your first professional experience there.
Yeah, so definitely very grateful for that opportunity. So that was really kind of a last minute scramble, I guess, if you want to call it that, because once the fall got canceled, which happened, I think we kind of knew right around early August or late July, that we weren't going to have a season. And it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go back to school because the draft's in January. I've already graduated. I don't need to take more classes. So what do I do from August till January? Like, or till the end of January. So that's like 6 months of no organized like soccer or anything like that. You can train on your own and play pickup, but that only gets you so far. I needed to be in a competitive environment and challenging myself to get better. So, right as that fall got canceled, is when I signed with my agent, and he had been really good at, facilitating things and kind of knocking on some doors to get me somewhat of an opportunity. And Birmingham had a spot open, and they needed a guy to come fill in because they had some injuries going on along the back line. And um, they had kind of known about me because the staff is New England based. And they were connected with my agent, and ultimately that led to very quickly just a process of me signing there and finishing out the USL championship season there. So I went down mid-August till mid-October, so I was only there about 2 months. But it got me back in a competitive environment, and getting me used to a pro level of training, and just everything that comes along with that, being in that type of setting. So I think that was a great opportunity for me, and definitely helped along the way for sure.
So you've already played against some MLS guys in college, whether that's like Abubakar Keita, who ended up playing in the U.S. U20 World Cup a couple years ago, Danny Pereira, who's the #1 pick in this most recent draft. Who's the one guy that you played against, whether it was college or club, where you were just like, damn, like that's another level that I haven't seen yet?
Danny Pereira was definitely good, but I'm trying to think. I guess probably the toughest players, or the toughest player that I had to defend or just remember going against, was probably Ryan Raposo from Syracuse. He now plays with Vancouver. He's just a small, shifty guy, good with the ball at his feet, like super attacking presence. Creates a lot of chances. I think nutmegged like 4 or 5 of our guys when we played him, and we were down 2-0 at half. Ultimately, we came back to tie at 2-2, but I think just he's a good player for sure, and someone who challenged me defensively, and someone who I was like, okay, like these are going to be the types of guys, and even better than Raposo at the next level. So something I needed to kind of prepare myself for.
Going off of that, is there anybody on, Atlanta who you want to play with really bad, or anybody else kind of throughout the MLS who you're looking forward to going against and kind of just being like, oh shit, like I'm going against that guy?
Nowadays in the MLS, there's at least someone on every team that's like, oh, wow, like, a big name player who's either come from overseas or had some good domestic success in the MLS with the national team. So I guess just on the whole, just looking forward to competing at the highest level in American soccer. And then as far as Atlanta goes, there's been some good success stories of guys like Miles Robinson, who was a super draft pick, came from Syracuse, came from college soccer, and has made a name for himself as center back as well. So someone to learn from and to kind of just see how they got to be where they are and try and kind of model myself after them. And then obviously, you look at guys like Joseph Martinez, one of the best strikers in the league, and just to be in an environment with him on a daily basis, learning from him, getting to train against him and play with him, and it's pretty cool feeling, and something to challenge myself up against, and also just, like I said, learn from.
So on the topic of training in Atlanta, those facilities are widely regarded to be some of the best in the league and even across the world. So how have you liked your early experiences there?
Yeah, it's amazing. Top class for sure. I actually came down to Atlanta last winter, so a little over a year ago. I was here for the Atlanta 2 Combine back when I was deciding between going back to school or pursuing a professional career. So I kind of got a little preview of the facilities and everything like that, and it's just it's amazing. I mean, you walk up to the field and they have just big 2 grass fields side by side, all glass, like kind of like fold out garage door that goes right into the gym, so guys can be on the bike or watching training if they're injured or something like that. Got the gym in there, the training room, and then upstairs you got the locker room obviously in there as well, and then upstairs you have just a great kitchen where the staff there just cooks unreal food and gets you fueled up before for breakfast and then after for lunch. So definitely in a professional setting, professional environment, and can't complain one bit.
So a little bit different than UNH.
a little bit different than UNH. That's one of the things though that kind of UNH installs in you is like, we're not having these unreal facilities like some of the bigger ACC schools or stuff like that, but it just kind of gets you to put your head down and do the work, and you get what you get, and you have to work to get to the higher levels and stuff like that, and that's just something that UNH uses as a teaching point. And the program itself has come a long way. I know like our assistant coach would always say, we had to buy our cleats or buy our gear back in the day when I was playing here. You guys have it so nice, you get all this free gear and all this stuff like that. So I couldn't complain at all at UNH either. But it's nice to be in this environment for sure.
So Atlanta's technical director is Carlos Bocanegra, who was an American World Cup captain who played the same position as you. How cool is it? What does it mean that someone that made it to the highest pinnacle of American soccer sees enough quality in you to take a chance in you?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot. And you're right. He's a legend. And on draft day, he was the first person to call me and welcome me to the club, and just say hi and facilitate my move down here and stuff like that. So pretty surreal moment for me. And, like you said, it means a lot to have them trust me and believe in what I bring to the table. And I'm excited to hopefully prove their decision right.
Just kind of a different type of question. How cool is it that you get your own Wikipedia page?
Yeah, that was pointed out to me a little while ago. It is a little cool, but I try and stay away from, Googling your name and stuff like that, because you're just bound to find something that you don't like. But yeah, it is cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I was doing a little like research before and type in Josh Bauer. It's a Wikipedia page, and then it looks like a picture of like from your Instagram. It's like the profile picture for it, of like you at like a restaurant or something.
Yeah, I think I have seen that. I think that was on my Twitter profile picture for a little while. I don't know how it's still up there, but it is there. Yeah, it was funny.
A little soccer-related question. So you're building a 5-side team. You're on it. Who are the 4 guys in the world that you want playing with you?
Out of anyone, current player.
Anyone.
Boy. And I'm on this team as well, so 4 others.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're gonna be on there either way, right?
Right, yeah, of course. Give me Sergio Ramos, Messi, let's see, Mbappe, and I'm gonna go with the younger guy. I'm gonna go with Haaland, just because he's been on a tear, goal scorer right now.
Scored another banger today.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that left-footed volley. Crazy. Too good. That was 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was 4.
All right. I was just making sure.
All right, so you're a UNH guy. 2 of us are UNH guys. Got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
All right, kind of rapid fire here. Libby's or Scorps?
Scorps. On the whole, Scorps.
What's the best off-campus restaurant?
Off-campus restaurant. Barrio.
That's a good choice.
Portsmouth. Yeah. Can't beat it.
Sammy's or Camco?
That really depends on where I was living. But I gotta ride with my guy at Camco.
Sammy's the man. Best dining hall.
That's another tough one. I got to go Hoko. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I have to go Hoko.
What's the reasoning behind that?
The pasta bar, the slider bar, buffalo chicken bar. What else? Good. They back like freshman, sophomore year, maybe even junior year, they had the best yogurt bar for breakfast. Yeah, I know. It's kind of an unpopular opinion. People don't like Hoko, but stir fry too. I ride with that.
I was about to say, I don't know if they have the stir fry bar in Atlanta, do they?
No, but I tell you what, salmon steak and is some good food to have every day. So
Touche.
yeah.
Touche.
I won't lie. I used to hammer the slider bar. I would get like 6.
Oh yeah, you have to, of course.
So you were talking about Miles Robinson earlier. He's another New England guy. Have you talked to him at all? Or have you talked to any of those the senior guys, Joseph Martinez, any of those guys? Have they reached out to you at all yet?
Yeah. So when I got there initially, I think the first time I was talking with Miles, he had known that I came from UNH, so he knew I was a New England guy, and we talked about that. Just him being from the Boston area. So that was cool to talk with him about that again. And he also went to Syracuse, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Lucas Rubio. He was a transfer to us a couple years ago from Syracuse. So there's kind of a little mutual connection there. Joseph's been kind of coming back from his injury, so he's been doing a lot of individual sessions, although he did jump in with the group this week. And in one of the warm-ups, there was 3 of us. It was me, Ezekiel Barco, and Joseph doing like the passing in the warm-up. So that was pretty cool. Still a little bit hesitant.
It's a decent group.
Yeah. A little hesitant to, get into full-on conversation with him and stuff like that, because he's very focused and dedicated right now to his rehab and stuff like that. But I'm sure during actual preseason that those conversations and stuff will arise.
I got one more question for you, and then we'll let you run.
Yeah.
Who are you rocking with in the Champions League?
PSG.
Yeah, they look like a wagon right now.
If assuming Neymar comes back and is good for, you never know when he's going to miss a game or whatnot, but I love PSG and hope they bring it home. Anybody but Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge Everton fan. So they just beat Liverpool, so I was going nuts right before you got on.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean it's tough to bet against City right now. They look unstoppable.
Yeah, I was going to say City as well. They're obviously world class. So either one of those two, City or PSG for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Well, thank you for hopping on. Really appreciate it. Like I said, you're going to be the first guest on the podcast, so be a good first one to have.
Yeah, cool. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the questions. Great questions, by the way, and just the UNH questions as well. It was fun. Appreciate you guys. I'll look forward to listening and following you guys along.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you too, man. All the best this season.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
See you later. All right. And again, thanks to Josh Bauer for sitting down with us. Really cool to be able to talk to him about everything that's going on. Next week, going to have another interview. We're not going to say just who just yet. You'll have to come back next week to see, but it's going to be a really exciting one that we're really looking forward to, and one that's definitely going to be an interesting sit down. So let's get into our gambling roundtable here, and then Dave will give us something to ponder, and then we'll get out of here. Boys, I hit a plus 600 bet this week. Plus 600. That took me out of the basement. I'm above Dave now. Up 2.9 units. The Toffees came through. Everton with a 2-0 win over Liverpool. The first time they've beaten them since 2010. I was going nuts here at my place by myself at 12 o'clock on a Saturday morning. It was right before our Bauer interview. I was getting giddy. So I went 2-2, won Everton, won the Bruins. That was an easy one. Lost by Bayern won, like I said earlier, and then I lost Texas Tech beating Kansas. Kansas beat Texas Tech last Saturday. Dave, how'd you do?
I did pretty well. I was 2-1. Let me just check myself there. Fulham beat Sheffield. I'm 2 for 2 on the Fulham one. So next time I come to you with a Fulham pick, you better listen to me. Iowa also won pretty big against Wisconsin. That was good. And then, unfortunately, OSU lost to Michigan. So, but it's okay because I will let Bob go perfect on the week. You want me to go through my picks now?
No, we'll come back to it. But
also, are we doing by units or record? Because my record is
we're doing by units.
My record's way better than yours, though.
Okay, it's nice that your record is better than me, but gambling's about what? Making money.
Sure. Move on.
All right, Bob, I heard you had a good week. Yeah.
Hotter than the sun. I'll just leave it at that. Literally, if you took me and the sun, we would be at the same temperature. Okay, so I'll just get into it. I'd like to preface this with that is probably the hottest I've ever been. So if you take my picks and they don't start hitting, that's on you. I'm just going to try to give out winners every week. But we'll get to it. We're going all college basketball this week, a big college basketball weekend. I'll just simply run through everything. News out of Illinois is that Ayo Dosunmu is hurt. He broke his nose, and he's out till the Big Ten tournament. They are playing at Wisconsin this week. I'll take Wisconsin with the cover. Again, when your best player's out, I know some people like to think that when the best player's out, you play better, but a guy of that stature, that's going to kill Illinois. So we don't know the lines yet. Lines don't come out till Friday, but I'm going to take Wisconsin in the cover. Going down to the SEC, I'm going to take LSU Arkansas over. Two offenses who love to score. A big game probably for tournament's sake. LSU's, I think, will get in. Arkansas is a lock in my mind. That's a big game down there. We talked about it earlier. I'm riding the Oklahoma State bandwagon till the wheels fall off. When you got a stud, you just let the stud go. Not that he really hasn't been that great this year, but at the end of the day, I want Cade Cunningham on my basketball team. So I have them on the upset win against Oklahoma. I'm going to take that straight up, money line. And then Saturday night, I got a Sunday pick too, but Saturday night, I'm rolling with Duke. Louisville and Duke. I bet that line's like 3.5, 4.5. Louisville got absolutely embarrassed by UNC. Duke is hitting its stride right now. I'm going to roll with the Blue Devils. And then Sunday, the big game on Sunday, another Big Ten game, another Ohio State game. We got Ohio State and Iowa. Give me Iowa to cover. And then I went with it last week. This guy's even better than Hunter Dickinson. Give me Luka Garza over in points and Iowa with the cover. So I believe that's 6 picks. Throw out more if shit keeps hitting, but give me a 6 pick, take it or leave it.
It's make or break week on those standings, huh? 0-6 could be disastrous.
0-6 could be disastrous. And there's not a lot of research went into these picks. It was just feeling gut feeling.
But I feel like those picks tend to hit more because, I mean, especially when you're hot, gut feeling goes a long way.
You really put yourself out there this week, Bob. I like that. I'm with you with Oklahoma State, though. I mentioned it earlier. If you're not going to take them money line, 100% take them to cover. Oklahoma should be favored by a couple points. Ohio State to cover against Michigan State. That's actually tonight, Thursday, at the time of recording, so you will know about that one. Again, the line is -4 Ohio State, right, Brennan? I believe that's right.
That's
and
correct.
Then Texas, money line over Texas Tech. Texas Tech, couple losses in a row. Oklahoma State, Kansas, and West Virginia. Not bad losses, obviously, but rivalry game, I'll take Texas over Texas Tech there, and I will stick with those 3 picks this week.
All right. I have 3 picks in a future. My first pick is going to be, I mentioned them earlier, Georgia Tech on Saturday. I'm going to take them to cover. I'm assuming they're going to be underdogs, but I'm not 100% sure. I think they're the most underrated team in college basketball. Jose Alvarado is a firecracker at point guard. We got one more. I forget the big name. His name's Moses. I can't remember his last name for the life of me. He had an incredible game against Virginia Tech on Tuesday night. My second pick is going to be another college basketball pick. I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to take Iowa money line over Michigan. I think Michigan's bound to lose at some point. Iowa's hot. This seems like a spot that Iowa could upset them. Michigan struggles against teams. I mean, it's tough to say they struggle, but they struggle against teams that shoot the three-point well. And Iowa is you could argue, is the best three-point shooting team in the country. My soccer bet is going to be a Juventus and Bayern moneyline parlay. Both playing, Bayern's playing Cologne, should handle them easily. And they need to make up for me from last week. Juve is playing Hellas Verona, I believe. I have to double check on that. Yeah, Hellas Verona. That comes out to minus 120. Should be a lock, but who knows? You can never know in soccer. And then my future is going to be, Dave talked about him. I sent Bob this earlier in the week. I'm going to take Kentucky to win the SEC tournament, make March Madness. They're plus 2,000 odds right now to win the SEC tournament. I'm going to put half a unit on them to win 10 units, and that is my future. I will hold it against me going forward. So if they do not win the SEC tournament, it will come out when this happens.
Love it. I don't really know. I can't follow you on the unit talk, but I'm all for it.
So a unit pretty much is what you would throw in a typical bet. So say it's $10. Say you would throw $10 on your normal bet, right?
Yeah.
So half a unit to win 10 units would be $5 to win $100. So it depends on what your unit is, but you just multiply it by however many units you're throwing. So obviously a bet that you're more confident in, you would throw more units like before.
Gotcha.
So I think currently right now, Bob has 6.9 units up. Dave is 1 unit up, and I think I'm 2.8 units up. So nipping at heels. Yeah, Dave, you got something to ponder for us?
Sure. Why not? So trees are a cool thing. They're all around us, right? You could probably look out the window and look at a tree from wherever you are, unless you're in like New Mexico or something. You can look at a cactus. But trees. One person one day just looked at a tree and said, "Let's cut into this thing, and then we can make literally everything out of it." So I would like to thank that person, because I'm sure whoever that person is has not gotten a lot of appreciation ever. So thank you to that person.
All right. Well, ponder that. We will see you guys back next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Spotify. I don't know if this will get out onto iTunes in time. If not, we'll get you the link for that once that comes out. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about. Until then, we'll see you next week. Boys, we'll talk later. Peace.
Peace.